stuff as they must. What are you a doctor of?
Some are saying that you're bipolar.
Wow, what does that mean?
I guess that, you know, you're on two ends of the spectrum.
Wow. And then what? What's the cure? Medicine? Make me like them? Not gonna happen. I'm by winning. I win here and I win there. Now what? Oh my God, it's all my mom's fault. Shut up.
So one thing about it, two things for sure. Why is Charlie Sheen still in mainstream media and seemingly is still being coddled? So if y'all don't know, he recently came out with a documentary that is on Netflix, and so there's been a lot of discourse about Charlie Sheen. And so how I remember Charlie Sheen really is like when he was going through the whole I'm winning, because I never watched the show 2.5 Men, I think it was called. But like that's how Charlie Sheen was introduced to me. Like he was just like this, you know, all-American white guy, right? And he's winning, and he's like sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and let's just have a good time. But babes, that's it's very toxic. And not only that, like for years, people were trying to speak up and about Charlie Sheen and the toxic, violent PDF file behavior. And so let us not forget. And so I feel like so let me just be fair. I have not watched the documentary in its entirety. I'm thinking it is the agenda of the documentary is to humanize Charlie or Carlos, whatever his name is, girl, because his real name is Carlos something, because it's people from Ireland and Spain. But to humanize him, right? He has HIV, and he came out with that about 10 years ago, like after he came down from his sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
He thought it was meningitis. He thought it was brain cancer. Hell, he even thought he needed a little bit more crack. Nope, just HIV. Crack tale number 5. Denise had to look at him and be like, bro, when's the last time you were tested for HIV? You in here sweating, you sick all the time. He thought it was meningitis. He thought it was a brain tumor. No, he very much had HIV. It's a continuation of my countdown of favorite crack tales from AKA Charlie Sheen, episode 2. Crack tale number 4. When Charlie Sheen was trying to get off crack, his drug counselor called his drug dealer and was like, hey, when you cooking that crack, can you make sure it's not that strong? I want to try to wing him off. So just make it like weaker and weaker every time you cook it up. And he was like, yeah, boss, I could do that for my bro. Crack tale number 3. Charlie tells us that the pipe wasn't the only thing that he put in his mouth. He was with a man. And he's like, wow, nothing crazy happened. Like, the world's so crazy and so much shit going on. Like, I don't even think people care right now that I sucked a little ick. Like, that's the least of people's worries. And honestly, yeah. Quick, Kanye West and Charlie Sheen walk into the bar. Who tells you they bipolar first? Quick, quick, quick. I think number 2 counts as a crack tale because he starts talking about Corey Helm's situation, and he's like, yeah, dude made that documentary and I should have sued his ass, but like I didn't, but I definitely didn't ape nobody. Like I did not ape nobody. At number 1, the fact that he's still alive. Honestly, the fact that he's still alive to tell the tale. And like I done told y'all 20 crazy stories out of this damn documentary. Like the fact that he's still alive, the fact that he's still breathing is crazy as hell. You know, white people, it's time to take some accountability. Okay, like I like Kanye West. Okay, once I saw he was going on rants, I didn't pay for it. Y'all saw a crackhead that was cracked out and y'all paid for a crack tour and then got upset and want to call y'all banks for a refund because a crackhead went up there and did crack shit. How about y'all have some self-reflection for a moment? Maybe you shouldn't have thought that a crackhead was going to go full out.
Situation that he had going on. But like the more interesting thing, right, as we peel back the layers of like Charlie Sheen and who he is and what he's done, we need to look back at first Denise Richards. So Denise was one of his wives. I don't know how many wives he's had, but she was married to him, and they do have a child or children together. And she divorced him based on irreconcilable differences. But she also mentioned that, y'all got my phone so I can kind of look, and I ain't gotta try to memorize everything. Because y'all know I'm not filming from my phone anymore, right? Okay. So basically, he was very violent, according to Denise, drug problems, which he has admitted to, a pornography problem, a gambling problem, and he just was, was not stable. And so there was times like I heard a 911 call in the beginning of the documentary, I think, where she was calling and was trying to call and report something with Charlie. And he was just having sex with all these prostitutes, whether it be women, men, he didn't care, right? And so I'll even say this in this video. Corey Haim. Corey Haim, I'm pretty sure y'all are familiar with him. He has been calling out the elites. He has been calling out Hollywood for years because his friend Corey, the other Corey, right, was a victim, and I believe Corey Haim was as well, was a victim of the industry and what comes with it, right? And so he gives a very graphic, detailed discussion that he had with Corey between him and Charlie. So take a look at this.
He went into great detail. He told me, Charlie bent me over in between two trailers and put Crisco oil on my butt and raped me. In broad daylight, anybody could have walked by, anybody could have seen it.
On the set of Lucas, he told me that, you know, it was his co-star. And he told me that it was Charlie Sheen that did it.
That on a movie he had worked on. And then I said, well, who is it? And then he says, Charlie. Charlie who? And it's Charlie Sheen.
So I heard that Charlie Sheen had, he had said to Haim, this is what men do.
Shit, I've personally heard a story about Charlie and Corey Haim. Probably at least a dozen people probably in my inner circle knew, for sure. It was pretty much common knowledge. I mean, Charlie Sheen was diddling him on the set of Lucas.
But what Corey Haim told me when I was sitting with Feldman in the office of the house in Vancouver, that he had been molested on the set of Lucas.
Since Charlie Sheen's documentary is coming out in a few days, I want to deep dive all of Corey Feldman's allegations against Charlie Sheen when it comes to Corey Haim. Corey Feldman has been giving accusations about things that happened to him and Corey Haim for years, way before he came out with his documentary in 2020, where he finally named and alleged that Charlie Sheen was the one who abused Corey Haim. Now, in this documentary, Corey Feldman would get more detailed, and he would allege that Corey Haim was abused on the set of Lucas by Charlie Sheen. The allegations that he puts in this documentary go farther than just Charlie Sheen, and we are about to get into all of it. Corey Haim wasn't the only one to allege this throughout this documentary. You also had a couple people that were close to Corey Haim that alleged that he told them the same thing, that he was abused on Lucas by Charlie Sheen. One of them, who was Corey Haim's childhood best friend, and also the manager of the two Coreys, had alleged that Corey Haim told him the same exact thing. Co-star on The Lost Boys, who said that he had heard this multiple different times. Even Corey Feldman's old assistant got on this documentary and said that this was something that was very well known and people would talk about it a lot. In the two Coreys, we saw Corey Haim getting very mad at Corey Feldman because he was alleging that basically Corey Feldman was behind the reason that he was abused. Over the years, Corey Feldman's mother also came out saying that she didn't believe that Charlie Sheen was the one that did abuse Corey Haim because Corey Haim told her a different name. And the man that she alleged and Corey Feldman's name was Dominic Braja. But Corey Feldman was alleging it wasn't just him, that there was a group of people that was abusing not only him, but also Corey Haim. Corey Feldman said in this documentary that when they grew up, Corey Feldman lived with this man because he believed that Corey Haim and him just had like a mutual relationship, even though Corey Haim was a child. And then Corey Feldman would allege that Corey Haim told him that he was disappointed in him, that he was living with Dominic because it was just so gross. And then Corey Feldman would end up cutting him off, and he said that he was really confused because at times he acted like they were friends, and other times he said, "You're gross, you're 35, I'm younger." See, and this is where the story gets a little more interesting because after years of Corey Haim's passing, Dominic Braja would come out publicly and try to say that Charlie Sheen was the one that abused Corey Haim. Dominic Braja told the National Enquirer that Charlie Sheen abused Corey Haim when he was only 13 years old when they were filming Lucas. After Dominic Braja told this to the National Enquirer and was doing an interview, Charlie Sheen would then sue him and also the National Enquirer author who wrote this. But then after, Charlie Sheen would drop this whole lawsuit and not even move forward with it. If you remember, Corey Feldman for years said that it was a group of people that were moving in tandem that were abusers in Hollywood. Another person that he named and alleged was abusing Corey Haim was Marty Weiss. Marty Weiss was like a talent manager for Corey Haim, Corey Feldman, and other kids in the industry. And where you're most recently going to remember that name and remember learning about Marty Weiss was from Quiet on Set. Yes, Quiet on Set, where Drake Bell came out and said that he was the young minor years later that Brian Peck abused. And Marty Weiss was brought up in this documentary because he was a convicted pedophile, and they alleged that he was working at Nickelodeon even after the fact. And Marty Weiss was charged in 2011 for abusing a child that was under the age of 14 years old. During this time of the investigation, this child at the time believed that there was more victims than just him because Marty Weiss managed a lot of big stars for Disney, Nickelodeon, and more that were younger. And then this is when I really start getting chills down my spine, because Brian Peck, the man who abused Drake Bell after he was convicted, would later go on to work with Charlie Sheen on anger management. So like all of these dots are connecting, and it's like no joke, because Brian Peck's charges against Drake Bell, I hope you know, were literally horrific, and they are just like Marty Weiss. They are gross, and they are under the age of 14 years old. At the time of originally getting arrested, both of them detail like using some type of substance on these children. And it's literally the same thing with another person that Corey Feldman came out and alleged who abused him. This man did not abuse Corey Haim like Corey Feldman said. This is only someone that abused him, but he was also a convicted offender. Corey Feldman said his name a lot back in the day and said that he told police this all the way back in 1993 when they were investigating Michael Jackson. And the police refuted it, saying, oh, we don't have anything. We don't have any report that he did this. And then a couple years later, they actually found it. Corey Feldman gave the name of Gruesome, but also the name Marty Weiss. At this point, it just makes you wonder, how were they allowing all of these PDF files to work around these children? I don't know, but y'all let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments.
So y'all just heard that, right? And so the thing is, it's like a lot of people are admitting to have heard these stories about Charlie Sheen and Corey, but no one has, I don't even know if it's going to be brought up in this documentary. I hope it is. I hope it's brought up and addressed. I don't know, because I haven't gotten that far into the documentary yet. But the fact that, you know, that could have led to that man or that young boy Corey's death of like being a victim of the industry and those alleged activities happening to him. We hear too many stories of like that in Hollywood. And so that's why I'm like, why is Charlie Sheen still around? Like, why is he still a thing? Because from when he was first introduced to me 10 years ago, I had not heard good things about him. Like, you know, they made it look like it was just a man going through a midlife crisis, just living life, just sex, drugs, and rock and roll, when this is a man who really has a problem. And so, and just does whatever he wants without any will. And so I was like, he's lucky that he's, you know, alive and still here today. But I was like, sis, if the stories are true, I say, when he passed, he going to hell. Like, if the stories are true about him, especially the stories between him and Corey, but too many people have heard these stories before. And we know how Hollywood get down. We know how Hollywood get down when it comes to the minors and things like that, or just the young adults and the older adults. It's creepy. And so I just wanted to talk about this because Charlie Sheen has this documentary. He's coming back up again. People are talking about him in this documentary, but let us not forget the marriage that he had with Denise. And let me see, before I get off the video, let me see if I can find the divorce petition that she filed and what it says. So as I'm going down the timeline and the history, it's all on People Magazine. If y'all want to see the history between Denise Richards and Charlie Sheen, it's on People Magazine. So I'm looking, it says in September 2007, Denise Richards accuses Charlie Sheen of inappropriate behavior in a custody battle. It says that Denise Richards launched accusations against her ex-husband, asking the court to protect their children from Charlie and remove his overnight privileges with them. It says, in the legal documents obtained by Access Hollywood, Denise claimed that the 2.5-man star exhibited inappropriate behavior and conduct, including his attraction to underage women and his sexual explicitness on the internet, including revealing his private parts. Sheen countered in a statement, clearly the mother of my children has no interest in responsible co-parenting when it comes to my relationship with our girls. Okay. So apparently Charlie Sheen went on to have a child with a lady named Brooke Mueller, and which I've heard before. I say as if I don't know who that is. But and so apparently their child was removed from their custody, and Denise had to step in to I guess be a foster parent of the sort to this child. Okay, and so in 2015, which is like 10 years ago, he came out and said he was HIV positive. And I thought I heard him come out and say he had HPV before he had HIV. Girl, I don't know. But Charlie Sheen is a mess nonetheless. And so the fact that his ex-wife came out and said that he likes, his ex-wife came out and said he liked underage women or girls, rather, because an underage girl is not a woman. Like underage girls, give you some reason to believe that the situation with Corey could be true, especially if you know Charlie Sheen is bisexual. He likes both men and women, right? So, like my mom used to say, not everybody's lying on you. So, not everybody's lying on you. It could be some truth somewhere in the middle to all of this, but I don't think Charlie Sheen is a good person. I think that he gets a lot of sympathy and empathy when he does not deserve it. He is coming out with his truth in regards to like his status with HIV, which he did 10 years ago. But I guess he's coming out with the rest of his dirty laundry and all the things that he's done. And so I may come back and talk about Charlie Sheen again and review the documentary if I feel like I want to do it, or if y'all want me to, I will. But I just want to come on here and talk about this. So let me know what you guys' thoughts are in the comment section below as it pertains to Charlie Sheen, who is winning. So that's what I remember. That's like, I mean, literally, like when I would turn on the TV, it would just say Charlie Sheen is winning. And it's just, girl, I don't know. The mainstream media, sometimes you can't trust it. So anyways, my name is Brittany Janae. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are in the comment section below, and I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.